Good morning, everyone. Thanks for taking time to hop on and listen in. We have an exciting guest speaker today to join us. The man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Tony Lani, founder of Tony's secret success system in his coaching. Um, just It's been awesome to work with him. Like I said, he's one of our national sales trainer here at Innovative Financial Group, as well as a fellow agency manager out of the California area. And just very thankful he's taking the time out today to talk to us a little bit about what he has going on and the program I'm actually working with him on currently. To make sure beneficial, and it's as well as for kind of taking a quick peek at who's on this call with us. Something that actually everyone on this call can actually join in on and kind of hear some of these nuggets. And there'll be a couple other things that we'll be able to do as a small group. I think that'll be very beneficial for all of us and for you guys especially, to kind of hear a lot of things that I teach and I say, but also hearing from a different spin on Tony's end of it, and just hearing it from a different horse's mouth. Luckily, Tony's a very pretty one, a good one to look at, but just getting that different vibe and
Thank you.
able to hear it from someone else, I think it makes a world of difference. And just like I said, his program that I'm actually on currently with him has been very extremely helpful in just getting my mindset to transition to where it needs to be, and getting the thought process of the day-to-day activity, the daily grind of where I want it to actually be at. So, I mean, it's going to be very beneficial. I don't want to give him any more of a long-winded intro. That's what his job is as an MC. But without further ado, I'm going to pass over to the.
Thanks. Good morning, everybody. It's great to be here. Thank you. Good to be here. And so, speaking with Marcus, I hope you can see my video, see the video pretty well.
You look great.
But okay, great. Excellent. Thank you. So, Marcus and I got to speaking, and I said I really wanted to be some sort of an assistance to his team as well. So, I'm here for everybody. I know, a lot of you are doing well, and Marcus is just fantastic in that kind of support. And so we started talking about some things, and he said, I'd love for you to speak to the agents. So, Marcus, I think what I wanted to do is, if I could, probably grab some questions from you, or some current, concerns that you have, and, like how important the appointments are, or speaking with people, or the leads, or any of that, good stuff, because I want to cover a lot of that.
No, definitely. I think the big thing we talked about before, the little things, your snippet of video of that, if some folks have seen it on the actual the university page, it's kind of going more in depth into that standpoint. Okay. I think one of our biggest struggles as a whole is the consistency of sitting with people. So definitely a leads piece of it, but also the refining of the appointment process. And I think we talked about it on our last weekly session in terms of the mindset, the verbiage, those different types of things that what you've helped me with, which, as you heard, my last appointment went a lot better than the first one, just by subtle tweaks of verbiage and the tonality portion of it. So you kind of can start off of that, Chassis. I'm sure there's going to be a ton of questions, so please, guys, ask questions.
Good.
Tony's taking his valuable, what is it, 7 a.m. or 6 a.m. time?
7 a.m. It's 7 a.m. 7 something.
He got up early for us today. So
okay.
Take full advantage of him. Ask any questions you guys have. He's a wealth of knowledge for us today.
Well, thank you. I thank you, Marcus. So what I was talking about, I think what Marcus was talking about, by the way, were you able to sell that second appointment?
The second one, no, it's a follow-up for National Life. It ended up going,
gotcha.
So that whole baseball conversation ended up looking at more than just mortgage protection. So that whole rapport building process, those subtle tweaks, we ended up talking about more than just the basic. I think it's like $100,000. We're looking at 200 or 300,000 now. So it's actually went very, very well so far.
Okay, good, outstanding. I want to start with something that it's funny that I start my training with, and that's the mindset. I know everybody wants to talk about the presentation and the close and everything else, and just what Marcus and I have been going over, and is the mindset. We talk about things like limiting beliefs, your fear and anxiety, lack of confidence, your negative self-talk. Everybody's thinking, oh man, Tony, this is a bummer, man. I mean, can't we just talk about closing the deal? Absolutely. But the problem is that when we go into a situation, there's little things that are like gnawing at us, or things that are in our head to say, well, I don't know if, gosh, I hope they're there, and they're never there, and they're going to stand me up, and they probably want to think about it, just like, and what happens is that you start building up this stuff that never ever happens. And so if that happens, you're going into a situation where all of a sudden you're like defeating yourself. It's like if you go on, if you're out on a date and you go out and you go, oh, man, I've been out with, several losers. It just never ever works out. And then you meet that person and all they're getting from you is like, oh, which of course it's not fair. So it's when we're going into the appointments, you have to have a clear mind, and you have to realize that these people have never worked with you before. And, just basically on how the IFG agents are, and the way Marcus, trains, and just the way he is, it's a matter of being able to engage, being personable, and helping people. I, excuse me, I talk about not selling, don't sell, but help. And if you come from that place, especially when I'm sitting with an agent, it's funny, I'll almost do a subtle commercial for the way I engage with people, or the way I help them, as opposed, and I'll say, the reason why most of when people work with me is because they want to make sure this, want to make sure that, and I'll let them know, as a field underwriter, this is the reason why people feel comfortable working with me. Now, that may have never crossed their mind for a moment, but now I just told them, this is why you're comfortable with me now. And they go, oh, wow, that's really great. Yeah, I really do appreciate that. Excuse me. Or, when I'm making my renewals, the residuals from the renewals, and I'll say, Mrs. Jones, first of all, I just want to be real clear. I said, as the field underwriter, I said, first of all, I get paid whether somebody says yes or no, which is actually true, because I get paid whether somebody says yes or no every month. And so I'll tell them, I say, why is that important? I said, because you're going to get an honest answer from me. And most people appreciate that. And then I wait for just a moment until they respond, and they'll say something like, yeah, no, I think that's great. So what I just did is I made sure that everything that is now going to come to them information-wise, or anything that I present, is going to go through the filter of, I trust him. I trust him. He's knowledgeable. He's not like everybody else. Marcus, does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense.
Does that make sense? Marcus and I had a conversation about that the other day, about, does that make sense? And it can be done, it's second nature now, because I'm asking, I said, does that make sense? As opposed to just learning it as a pre-close, or, an acknowledgement. Does that make sense? Or does this make sense? Which can be very pretentious, by the way, or it can be very condescending if it's not said properly. So just very conversation. Does that make sense? Whether we're talking to kids, whether we're talking to our partner, whatever it is. So I just wanted to talk about, again, when you're talking about the negative self-talk, and most of us are not barraged by that thought, but at the same time, it's when you're going into it and say, hey, I'm going to work with somebody new. I've never seen them before. Whether you're in person. Now, I don't know if most of the agents now you're working in person. I mean, if you're working in the field in person, or is it by phone?
A little bit of both. Most of us are starting to transition back into field sales, depending on some of our states. I think on this particular call, we have 3 states on right now. We have Arizona, North Carolina, Ohio, right, currently. So most of us are able to go. We're considered essential. We can go out inside the actual field. Many of us were doing the whole telesales piece, and a good chunk of us are still doing the final expense as well, along with some mortgage protection mixed in.
All right, great. And Claire Luffman said that she hasn't switched back to the field yet, still on the phone. Okay, good. So here's the thing, Claire, is when you're talking to somebody, I'm an in-person, I like to be in person, engaging with somebody. But when I'm selling on the phone, I want to give them the feeling, the essence that I'm right there. And now, do most of it, forgive me, I know that Marcus, you're doing Zoom calls video. Is for the most part everyone else doing Zoom calls where they can see you like this?
Some cases, a lot of it's telesales. I mean, Claire's really good. She's a stellar agent in terms of she has a
Yes.
chat bot on her file expense leads, so she's been doing very, very
Congratulations,
well
Claire.
with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's been strictly
Mhm.
telesales since her transition back on with us.
Got it. So what it is that, let's say for example, right, when you're just doing telesales and there's no video involved, what do you want to let them know is that if you're used to being in the field, Mrs. Jones, I'm the field underwriter, and I said, but we're not in the field these days. We just want to make sure everybody stays safe. So what you're doing, it's almost like you're giving them the essence and the feeling in person, like you're right there in person, but you're going to do it by phone. Now, I enjoy speaking by phone, but if it was up to me, I enjoy doing in person. So what you want to do is give them the impression, give them the essence. So it's like, oh, Mrs. Jones, we're usually there. I'd be visiting with you in person, but because, what's going on now, we want to make sure that you're safe. So this is going to be just like I'm right there with you in person. And what I just did is it painted a picture of, oh, wow, Claire's right here with me. How cool is that? Because I say that because lots of times agents will go, yeah, I'm just not a phone person. The moment you tell yourself that I'm not a phone person, your brain has to look for reasons going, yeah, hey, he's not a phone person. So let's just make sure that we can figure out how he's not going to be able to shine, or she's not going to be able to shine just like everybody else is. I mean, like when he's there in person. So again, you need to set the stage and paint the picture for them. It's as if you're right there in person, if that's what you normally do. Does that make sense, Marcus? Perfect. Okay, good. So I wasn't trying that out on you again. I just wanted to know if it made sense. So, and then I'm going to go ahead and try to, and also Marcus, if you can take a look at the chat, if there's any questions that are coming up, I'd love to go ahead and answer for everybody there. So,
Yeah, I'll keep an eye
Michael,
out.
yeah, Michael Charles says, I too am better in person, but I'm greatly improving telesales. That's fantastic, Michael. Congratulations. And what happens is once we get over that stigma, once we get over that, oh, I'm not a telephone person, you're painting the picture for them. That's all it is. I mean, it's like somebody that we know in our family or friends that we see in person, and now we're on the phone. We're not going to say, hey, okay, by the way, Marcus, I know we usually see each other in person, but I just wanted to let you know that we're still going to have a great conversation, even though it's going to be by telephone. Well, Marcus and I already know each other. We've been around each other. And if we haven't been around each other, I'm going to let him know, give him an essence or give him an idea of who I am as a person. Now, when most people, if you're listening to, I just want to show you real quick, is that if you did, I don't know why I came up as that. Oh, that's because you named it. But anyway, what happened is that if you don't see me, all you're doing is you're listening to my voice now. So you can tell if I'm a downer or I'm just kind of low key and just kind of there's nothing going on here and this and that. Or if you're saying, hi, good morning, how are you? This is Tony. I'm giving you a call. You had sent a card in, you had requested some information. They're hearing that I'm making complete sentences. I'm not and shuffling around with papers. I'm very clear. I'm a professional. And what I want them to know is I'm a professional and I'm acting like a professional. And if I'm acting like a professional, hey, guess what? I'm going to make sure to take care of their account professionally, because there's no reason to apologize for yourself. So people are hearing that. Even if we're dealing with our clientele that may not be able to hear so well, but they can obviously hear who we are. And if they feel comfortable with us, the old saying, which I love, which I didn't realize goes all the way back to Teddy Roosevelt, is nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. So I don't care how knowledgeable someone is. They have to convey, and it has to come across that, hey, I really enjoy working with this person. That's why Marcus is very knowledgeable. He knows what he's doing. And if I was to work with Marcus on the phone, I'd go, well, he's knowledgeable and he answered my questions. And he didn't, fudge when I asked, he didn't like him and haw and kind of, I don't, you're not going to feel comfortable. So again, we're still under mindset. I'm also talking about things like, what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of on the phone? Because lots of times of that, the very thing you're afraid of hearing, gosh, I hope they don't ask me this objection. I hope they don't ask me this. I hope, like clockwork, set your timer to it because that objection then comes up. I don't know what it is, but it just seems to work that way. So again, go into it positively. You don't have to be Pollyanna about it and just go, well, hi, good morning. And, it just, if that's your personality, fantastic. But let it be sincere and let them know that you're there to help them. Also, I wanted to speak about when you're speaking to them on the phone and they're giving you objections or they're challenging you in some way. I put a very strong emphasis on staying calm and just relaxing, because it's like, what, you're calling me? I know, I thought somebody, oh, no, and then you can say, well, normally they would, go ahead and just send this out to you. I'm actually the field underwriter. During these times, we're keeping you safe. Excuse me. So we're speaking to you by phone. Now you had said, or you had requested blah, 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 and it says here and it says there, because I have to tell you, when people call me by telephone, I'm always giving them a chance on some level to say, hey, you know what, give this person a chance. Don't hang up on them, which I don't. And 9 out of 10 times or more, believe it or not, they're majorly disappointing. Nobody's ever properly trained them to speak as a professional. So if I sent away for information, and I'm trying to think how the leads work that you're, for the most part, working with, Marcus, but when that person on the other line, like yourself, one of the agents, speaks to them, it's so important to put them at ease, because when you put them at ease, they're going to know, oh man, I'm speaking with Connie. Connie, is that your name? It is? Okay, great, Connie. Connie, thank you so much for helping me, whatever. And, Connie has no personality to begin with. So it's just a matter of, making sure, it's a joke, Connie. So it's a matter of now Connie making sure that they know that she knows what she's talking about, which she does. And it separates us from everyone else. Those are for the telesales agents. If you're going into the field in person, then you want to make sure that they feel comfortable with you, because guess what? They've never met you. They don't know who you are. And why would they let you in their home? Because you're letting them know that you're the person and you're going to take care of them. I shared this story before. Forgive me if I'm repeating myself to anybody who's heard this, but I was once at a door and I had a lead. And I said, oh, hi, Mrs. Jones. Yeah, you had requested a benefits package. It's my job to bring that. Well, and this was a gentleman, actually. He goes, I thought they were just going to send me something. And this guy was just very combative. And instead of me saying, well, sir, well, no, the reason, if you just give me a second, if you just give me a minute, and I hear agents do this all the time. So now you're begging and you're trying to negotiate for something that they requested. So what you say, oh, no, I'm sorry. I think there's probably a misunderstanding because you had and then just go back to the lead again. You had requested a benefits package. It's my job as the field underwriter to go ahead and blah, blah, blah. And the guy just wouldn't stop. I was probably out there for 2 minutes at the door and he wouldn't stop. And I don't know what popped into my head. And I didn't say it with arrogance. I said it more as I was trying to be humorous. And I said, I looked at the lead. I said, boy, you must be pretty important to have them send me out here. Just like that. And the guy goes, you're the manager? I said, I am. He goes, come on in. And what it told me is that people want to work with people who are in charge, people who are going to take care of something for them. And that's the reason he let me in. So if I never say that to anybody else in the field, I want them to understand I'm the person who's going to take care of this for them better than anyone else. You're in a restaurant, you don't have great service, or you're upset about something from your server, say, may I speak to a manager, please? Now, the manager could literally be a semester older than the wait person, but at least the manager is going to come there, and perception-wise in your head, oh, now at least they're going to do something about it because this is a manager, and the manager is going to be able to do something. It has not, the manager could have been hired after the wait person, but at least perception-wise, they know that something's going to get done. I'm going to come up for air for a second, Marcus. Is there something you'd like to add while I'm drinking from my Bob Evans cup?
Oh, you're good. Awesome stuff. You can touch on at the door the oh hi opposed to hello, hey.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Sir,
What I'll do is
all
I'll
that stuff,
teach.
yeah.
Thank you. What I'll do is I'll teach my agents in the field. You know, when we go out in the field, it's very folksy. And instead of hello, which is I hear agents do all the time, and they'll just like look at it like it's a staring contest. You know, they'll say hello. You open the door, go hello, as opposed to somebody like oh hi. I always talk about oh hi. It's just very off the cuff. Now, when I'm at the door, I will put my back to them. So when they open the door, like I'm writing something. Why? Well, the UPS guy does that, right? The FedEx woman does that. The woman from Amazon does that. They're not like, you know, a salesperson would do. So then what it is that my back is to them. So when they open the door, it shows them that I'm not trying to present as a salesperson, but I'm working. So if I'm turned around and I'm writing and they go, yes, I go, oh, hi. And then I'll say, are you Mrs. Oh, hi, Mrs. Jones. You had requested blah, blah, blah. And then I tell them as I'm going, I said, this is for the 2020 final expense program, or you had requested for mortgage protection, whatever you say, Marcus. And I said, I have the information for you. I just need to go over a couple things with you, and then I'll be on my way. May I come in? And most of the time when you say, may I come in, they're not expecting it. But if you make it comfortable for them, and if you just explain to them that you're just going to be a moment and then you'll be on your way, they have to know that you have a lot of deliveries. So if the FedEx person or the UPS person said to you, I have a package, can I bring that in? And then I'll be on my way. Sure, no problem. Because they know the UPS or the FedEx or the Amazon person has a lot of people to see. And any resistance that I get at the door and they go, yeah, but it's just not a good, you said, you know what, I have a lot of people to see, I have my clipboard. I said, I have a lot of people to see today, so I'll be on my way. May I come in? They say, sure, no problem. And for the most part, I'll be able to get in. Working with one lady, I remember this, I was training an agent in the field, and she said, I'm just real busy and I have my grandson here with me and blah, blah. I said, hey, no problem. I said, you know what? This was really the truth. And it came up and I said, hey, you know what? And I said, we both have our lunches in the car. And I said, so we're not going to be long. She says, come on in. I mean, I don't know where this came from, but it was one of those things where the perception again was, we're not going to park ourselves at your house. We're going to be in there and then we're going to be gone. But what Marcus wanted me to hit on heavily is people have to feel comfortable with you. So I will always train and say, oh, hi. Oh, hi, I'm Tony. Oh, hi, just how are you? Oh, hi, I'm sorry, I'm Tony. What is your name? If you're going to ask somebody, by the way, their name, give them yours first. Because if you don't, it sounds like you're interrogating them. Because if I didn't know your name and I said, what's your name? And then they'll say, what's your name? Well, that would have been avoided if I would have just said, oh, I'm Tony. What is your name? And say it with a smile and be sincere and take interest. Take sincere interest in the other person. You may be having a crappy day. You may have just had your door slammed on you. This has happened to me. I've had doors slammed on me before. I had a gentleman who sent a lead in. Oh, I changed my. Yeah, I'm not interested. And I said, oh, you're not interested. I'm surprised. The saying is, don't be mad, don't get angry, be fascinated when somebody says something ridiculous to you. Oh yeah, I changed my mind. Oh, how convenient. You requested, this is what I'm thinking. Oh, I see, you requested information. I came out to your home to get that information to you and you just changed your mind? It doesn't make any sense. So what I said to the person, I said, oh, you change your mind. Well, I have the information for you. And I said, it doesn't take, and the guy was just a little rude. And I was training somebody, and he started to close the door on me. And what I did is I stopped the door so it wouldn't close. I didn't do this, but I just closed. I prevented him from closing it, but I was speaking to him as I was doing that, so it didn't look brash. It didn't look harsh. And I said, "Oh, well," I said, "well, I know you had requested this above." And he was so angry. He looked at me with veins popping out of his neck, and he slammed the door, and it slammed in the entire complex, the apartment complex, and it echoed so loud that anybody would have opened up the door. It sounded like a gunshot. And all I did is when he closed the door, I just looked at the agent, I smiled, he smiled, we started laughing. So if anybody would have seen us, now it wouldn't have prevented my ability or my chances to be able to go door knocking and saying, oh, we had some information to deliver. And did you receive one of these? Did you receive, did you get your information? No. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, this is in reference to the 2020 final expense program or blah, blah, blah. We just want to make sure, and I apologize you didn't receive anything. Just takes a moment to explain, and I'll be on my way. May I come in? I can't tell you how many times I've been able to sell that way as well, where I was once in an apartment complex, actually in an area, it was predominantly Hispanic. I don't speak Spanish, but I was able to speak to them at the door and explain to it what it was, and they said, come in. And I was able to, I think I wrote like $10,000 or $11,000 in like 1 month of just cold door knocking. I mean, for the most part, I depend on the leads. And if you're not making sure that you have the leads consistently, get it. Marcus, I don't know how often you talk about leads, but the leads, I can't tell you, are incredibly important because it is your lifeblood. It's the reason it just makes it so much easier to be able to say, oh, hi, are you Mrs. Jones? Or speak to her on the phone, or, it's, so make sure that you're making it easier for yourself with leads. By the way, where do you typically get your leads, Marcus?
I do direct mail mortgage protection leads.
Mm-hmm.
Some of our agents are doing also direct mail mortgage protection, but many
Okay.
are doing Facebook leads or final expense direct mail, final expense telemarketing, final expense leads.
Okay.
We have a nice little mix of a little bit of everything.
Okay, excellent. Before I continue to jibber jabber, what questions does anybody have that I can help you with? Or you, Marcus?
I mean, the big thing I've noticed this going back just from transitioning from telesales back to the in-person, it's not making it as transactional. Kind of fell into a really bad habit of making the sales transactional versus creating those emotional ties and that true, like you said, that true sense of caring and servicing. I think I definitely got away from that in the whole pandemic piece of it, just from a phone side of it, and more almost like we were actually telemarketing people and making it on that transactional piece, and it's getting back into the roots of what we're really good at in servicing and actually that higher level of care and the integrity piece of it behind the knowing what the client's well-being is ultimately going to end up being, that we have their best interests at our heart.
Okay, perfect. And Deanna, I got your question about that dreaded, I want to think about it. It's funny because if you've seen on the university, I did a video called I want to think about it. And I always say that dreaded statement, I want to think about it. So I like the way you used the dreaded. And so what I just wanted to do is address what Marcus is saying. What happens is that when we turn it into transactional, I think lots of times, knowing Marcus, he's so knowledgeable that I think it's important for Marcus to let them know that he knows what he's talking about. And I don't know if this has to do with an age thing, because Marcus, when you started, I think, Marcus, you were like 12 years old, I think, when you started or something. So he wanted to make sure that he knew that they knew that he knew what he was talking about. Am I on the right track, Marcus?
Yeah.
Okay. So
8 years later, though, age 20, 21.
Hey, perfect. Right. So, okay. 8 years later. Okay. Gotcha. So 21. So he wants to make sure that they know, what he's talking about. Forgive me if there's some noise in the back. My son just came in to take our chicken out of the box. Yeah, we have a chicken, by the way. So everybody's thinking, yeah, I thought Tony was normal. Anyway, but I wanted to say is that it's when you're speaking to them, transactional has to do with, well, you want them to know that you know what you're talking about. They're going to know that you know what you're talking about if you're obviously helping them and the knowledge and everything is coming out real quick. Hey, Henry, honey, can you close the door, sweetheart? Thank you. I'm on it. Thank you. So I just want to say, so it has to do with, making sure that they already know what you're talking about, and they're going to know what you're talking about by simply asking them questions. Asking questions is real important, as opposed to just talking at them. Mrs. Jones, it's blah, 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 da, 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 da. And what happens is after a while, everyone's going, okay, great. Well, I want to think about it. And so the reason that they do that, thank you so much. And so what happens is that when they say, I want to think about it, then what happens is, because you gave them so much information, that it's confusing to them. And what does a person do when they're confused? They do nothing. Okay, great. Well, thank you for this information. I really appreciate it. And you're going, I can't believe it. I spent all that time with a person. Had you checked in with them once in a while? Had you spoken to them? Had you just said, Mrs. Jones, does that make sense? Yeah, it does. Okay. Can you see how, and asking questions without getting long-winded on it, is that when people say, Mrs. Jones, this is going to take the pressure off of your daughter's shoulders when you pass, off of her shoulders when you pass away. Well, first of all, that's my opinion, and it can be disbelieved. Nobody cares about my opinion unless I ask them, Mrs. Jones, may I make a suggestion? They go, yes, please. And when I do ask that question, excuse me, and I say, may I make a suggestion? I'm also wondering how they're going to answer me. And I'm listening to see how they're going to answer me. Because if you were to say, same statement, Mrs. Jones, may I make a suggestion? Yes. It's like, okay, I don't have much credibility. But how many times have we been in the field and they said, Mrs. Jones, may I make a suggestion? Yes, please. That means they're stuck and you're going to be able to help them. And so what happens is, by making it less transactional, the reason how you can make it less transactional is by letting them know that you're going to take care of it, that you're knowledgeable, and now they feel very comfortable with you. If you have the Sears repairman, or if you have the person coming in to check your, if there's a gas leak or something going on in the neighborhood. Oh, hi, I'm from Sears. How are you? We had this appointment at 1 o'clock today. I'm supposed to check your ice maker. Is that correct? Yes, please. Now, you are checking them out at the door in like a millisecond, because what is the perception of the Sears repairman or the person who's coming to your door? You can ask for identification and do whatever, but somehow they're in a uniform where they have the shirt, they have the pants, they have the badge. Something is telling you that this is the person they're telling you they are. And if anything is different from that or changes from that, you're not going to feel as comfortable. And if you're not going to feel comfortable, you have that tension or that wall that's going to be there the whole time. And that's what happens with us. I talk about this in the video I did for IFG, where people say, hey, I just wear shorts and I wear cutoffs and I wear a t-shirt. Oh, congratulations. But you know what? I'm not saying you didn't make sales wearing that, but you need to look like a professional. It doesn't matter if it's a man, doesn't matter if it's a woman. And if you haven't seen the videos, guys, please go to the university and take a look at that, because we did about 9 videos, which I really, really like. And I think you'll like as well too. So you want to stack you want to stack all the positive things in your favor. You don't want to give them a choice to be able to go, yeah, okay, great. Well, I'm going to think about it. So now what you just did is you defeated the purpose. Does that answer your question, Marcus, about taking it away from transactional and make it more relationship? I got to hear a call of Marcus's. I have not finished yet. I apologize. I heard the first 20 minutes, and it was great. Marcus was talking to him. I think his son and Marcus went to the same school and played sports, and they knew the coach and knew everything else. And how much more comfortable can you be? It would be really difficult to mess that up, where a person doesn't feel comfortable with you. So real quick, Deanna, and I'll get to your question, is when you talk about your character and your competence. This was once talked about by a sales trainer in real estate, Brian Buffini. And I think this really hits it well, is that there was a gentleman at the church, and he was the youth pastor. And there was this couple at the church, and they had a teenage son. And the teenage son, unfortunately, was going through a bad drug problem, drug dependency, and they knew that this youth pastor could work with them. Well, this youth pastor was also a realtor, a real estate agent during his, during his regular life, Monday through Friday, Monday through Saturday. So what happened is their son was working with this youth pastor. Youth pastor was working with him, and over a period of 3 months, got him to get off of drugs, turn his life completely around. You could imagine the parents were so grateful. I mean, they would just do anything for this person. Thank you so much for helping our son, and we really appreciate it, and it couldn't have gone better. And about a month later, they were selling their house, and they gave it to another agent, not this person who basically saved their son's life. And this youth pastor said he was so devastated. He was so crestfallen. He thought, there's no other reason why I wouldn't want to get out of real estate now, because if this is an example where a person doesn't trust me after I've saved their son, here's what it is. Difference between competence, a character, and competence. They knew he had an amazing character. They saved their son. So his character was off the charts. He would do anything for anyone, but they didn't know his competence when it came to real estate. And that's the reason why they gave it to another agent. So it's important that not only somebody goes, oh, I want to be liked, I want to establish rapport, credibility and everything else. They already know that you're personable. It's the way Marcus talks. I mean, it's the way he, talks about his training. And I know that the people just, like Connie and John, some of you I don't know who, but you're very personable people. So once you already have that established, you don't have to marinate in that for the longest time, for like 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So I really need to make sure that they know that I'm just this wonderful person. They already know you are. Now they need to know that you're competent to take care of this and their needs. I hope that's answered your question, Marcus.
No, that's very, very, very well.
Good. So I want to talk to Deanna's point about the dreaded I want to think about it. I want to think about it, for the most part, comes into it could come into different places. The I want to think about it feeling might be at the door if you're about to speak to somebody. The I want to think about it, their feeling is on the telephone in the first 2 minutes. I'm not sure, this isn't a good time. It's the same as I want to think about it. Now, what I did for I want to think about it is at the end, I didn't get it a lot. The only reason, not because I'm a genius, but because, I'm not a genius, but I'm just saying, not because I think I'm a genius, but because I was checking in with them throughout the sales process. Does that make sense, Mrs. Jones? Can you see how that would take the pressure off of it, which I never finished talking about? I apologize. When you talk about and you say, Mrs. Jones, this is going to take the pressure off of your daughter, Carol, when you pass away. Well, that's a statement, right? Number one. There's no reason. I've just lost complete control of the conversation. And what happens is if I just put that in a question form and I say, Mrs. Jones, can you see how this would take the pressure off of your daughter, Carol, if something were to happen to you? She goes, yeah, I really do. Great. Probably sleep a lot better knowing that that's taken. Yeah, I really would. Okay, great. Let me make a note of it. All I need to do, I just need to see your driver's license, and let me go ahead and take care of the paperwork. And they go, well, you know what? I want to think about it. Okay, that's fine. Whenever they say, I want to think about it, I always agree. And I go, that's fine. And some people go, my goodness, that's fine. Yeah, because what I just did is I'm lowering, what are they called? The moat, or the drawbridge for the moat. I'm lowering the wall so that they can hear me, so I can have an effect on them. Because here's the number one mistake I see that agents make is they'll say, all right, Tony, well, thank you very much. I'd like to think about it. You want to think about it? What part do you want to think about? I was really specific and I told you everything. Well, what they just did, and their wall goes up and they're thinking, oh, great, I got to deal with this idiot. He's not going to leave me alone. How can I get him out of my house? or how can I get her out of my house? I want to think about it. That's fine. Now you could say, what specifically do you want to think about? But instead of me going there, what I'll say, Mrs. Jones, here in the state of Ohio, we have something called a 30-day free look. And something else I want to stress to everybody on the call is when you make a statement, go down at the end of your sentence. What you're doing is by making a statement and going down at the end of the sentence, it's like it's not really open for conversation. When you go up, it's a question. Because if I say, Marcus, does that make sense? I'm going up, okay, great. And okay, I'm going to make a note of that, great. So I'm going down at the end of the sentence. The problem is I do hear, Deanna, I'm coming back to it, I promise. The problem that I hear is people will go up at the end of their sentence and, and I'm going to go over this with you. And can you see how, and this will, take the pressure off? Or I'm Tony and I'm the field underwriter, and you had sent in a card requesting a benefits package, and it's my job to get that out to you, because what they're hearing is that okay? Please, may I? I'm just gonna, is that okay? Is that okay? And their brain is hearing, no, I can't do it now. No, it's not a good time. Because when you ask like that, it's almost like you're begging and you're asking for permission. Those same words is, oh, hi. There it is. Oh, hi. Oh, hi. Are you Marcus? Oh, hi, Marcus. I'm Tony. I'm the field underwriter. You had requested some benefits pack. You had requested a benefits package. This is in reference to the new final expense of the new mortgage protection, or it shows here that you're currently with Bank of America. Okay, great. Gives you some credibility. It's my job just to get that information out to you. I just need to go over a couple things and then I'll be on my way. Again, I'm going down at the end of the sentence. May I come in? And I always go down, by the way, when I say, may I come in? It's a statement. And that's why I think most of the time they'll let me in, because I'm not putting it in the sense of a question. Back to the 30, I want to think about it, Deanna. As you say, sir, here in the state of Ohio, we have something called a 30-day free look. And what that allows us to do is to go ahead and, make sure that everything's right. I send in the paperwork. I don't call it an application. I call it the paperwork. Again, it's like when you say, okay, great, I just need your signature here. I just need your okay here. So again, we said, this way, I just need to go ahead and send the paperwork. I want to make sure get you the approval. In about 2 weeks, you're going to go ahead and get your policy in. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to call me. Okay, now, depending on whatever your schedules are, guys, I want you to call me, and by phone, I'm going to go over it with you. Just make sure that the coverage is right, make sure the premium's right. And if for any reason, if we need to make adjustments, if you say, hey, you know what, Tony, I'm always putting myself in stories, by the way. We thought about it. We need to get less coverage, or what, can we get more coverage? No problem. But you know what? Bottom line is, if you were to say to me, hey, Tony, we thought about this and we want to hold off, that's fine too. But it's important that we make sure and get you the approval. Does that make sense, Mrs. Jones? Yeah, it does. Okay, great. I just need to see your driver's license. And you're going right back into it. So Deanna, what you're doing is you're telling them that they're not making a commitment, because the 30-day free look period is protecting them. And sometimes I'll even say to somebody, I'll say, Mrs. Jones, you know what? I'm not even going to let you make a decision today. So, and the state protects you because they just want to make sure, but they feel it's not fair for you to be able to put something in place if something, God forbid, happened to you. So I just wanted to let you know, I want to make sure to get the approval. And then that way, then you'll have leverage on what you want to do. Again, going down at the end of the sentence. I hope that helps. And I know some agents have you're welcome. And I know some agents have panicked and said, oh my goodness, you're giving them an out. No, I'm not giving them an out. And honest to God, I think out of 50 people, 50 policies, I think I had maybe 2 who ultimately said, I don't want this. So really what you're doing is you're saying, I don't know if I want to commit to this car. No problem. You know what? Take it home for the weekend. Try it out, see what you like it. And then, what we'll do is come back on Monday and we'll figure it out. See if you want to keep it. Well, by then, guess what? 99% of the people go, yeah, I really like it. I want to keep the car. So, you're so comfortable and confident that they go, you know what, Mrs. Jones, I just want to make sure that we get the approval because right now we don't have anything. Oh, you know, Tony, this is great, but I'd really like to talk to my daughter about this first. That's fine. Agree. And they go, but here's what we have. Right now, we don't have any approval yet. So let me go ahead and get you the approval. Once we have the approval, then we can go ahead and, decide what we want to do. Does that make sense? And then when you get your policy in about 2 weeks, please do me a favor. I think you mentioned your daughter lives like about 5 miles away. She does. Great. Call me. And then what I'd like to do is I'd like the three of us to be able to speak about this, and I can explain that to her. And then you can see the look of relief. She goes, oh, that would be wonderful. Can you do that? No problem. Sure. So they know not only are you a professional, you want to accommodate, and now they know that their daughter is not going to chew them out for moving forward on a policy. You're putting them at ease, and everything's going to be okay. Remember, the feeling should be, Mrs. Jones, I'm not even going to let you make a decision today. Or I've said that to people before. And then when they do make the decision and they go, this is wonderful, Tony, thank you so much. I always say, and I said, you know, Mrs. Jones, when I'm leaving, I say, something tells me you're going to sleep a little bit better tonight. And as cliche as that sounds, they go, you know, I really am. And I say, great. I said, tell me why. And then I shut my mouth. And the more they talk about, thank you, Deanna, the more they talk about to say why they're going to sleep better, they're solidifying their sale again to them. Very, very important. Great. Thank you. Thanks, Michael. So, and that's it.
Oh,
And Marcus and I,
wonderful.
yeah, sure. No, but my pleasure. And I just realized I can't believe I've been jibber jabbering as long. Marcus says, you're Tony, why should you be surprised? But I just want to let you know that I need to grab on a call here in like about 8 minutes.
Gotcha. No,
but
just
real quick, everybody. But because I'm working with Marcus, I'm here for you guys. I'd love to pop on the call anytime, and also you'll have my contact information with any questions. And so I'm here for you. I really want to be able to help you out.
Tony,
Yes,
can
Marcus.
you hear me? Tony, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Who's this?
This is Michael Charles.
Hey, Michael. Nice to listen to that voice. Yes, I can hear you booming. Yes.
I'm here in Arizona.
Okay.
And, I don't know if, you don't know much about me. I'm a former NFL football player.
Oh, yes, I know. Marcus has talked about you. Pleasure.
Well, one of my things is that since I retired, I don't really, and since I found Jesus, I really don't put a lot of, I don't really pump my football life as much as mine. And so when listening to you talk about, so many people saying I should use my football credibility to get in businesses and get in the doors that they couldn't get into, where I like just using my personality.
Okay.
And but I see what you're saying. I really got interest in building credibility, like you said. I'm not, so now I'm not considering me talking about myself as being me, pumping me and saying how great I am, but more like building credibility to you, as to you should feel confident in working and making a decision with me.
100%.
At this moment. So that was a great way of thinking, a great way of having me
good.
rethink this thing, and I just wanted to appreciate and tell you that personally.
Oh, my pleasure. Listen, if you came to my house and you said, I was I had my life in the NFL, and I'd be excited. I'd say, oh wow, what was that like? And now I'm all, yeah, go ahead.
Right, you're absolutely right. It's a good door opener, and then people do light up when they hear that. And then, and obviously a lot of people Google me while I'm there.
That is fantastic. Right, exactly. As opposed to when they Google me, they see a rap sheet, and that's not good. So, yes.
Well, I immediately turn around, like you said, and at that point though, I really turn around and tell them how much insurance I've been doing and how much I've been selling, and how I'm this great salesperson, and worry, and I make sure that I'm a customer-oriented person, and
good.
So that kind of calms them down too.
Good, and that's important, because I knew a gentleman at another company, and he's a pastor, and so they feel comfortable with the pastor in their house. So you have to understand, Michael, anything that's going to, you're not doing it to trick them. What you're doing is that you're putting them at ease, and they're comfortable with you, and now they're thinking, wow, how awesome. And now he's dedicated himself to this field in financial
Yes.
services and insurance. And just say,
Yes.
you know, this is the reason why and let them know, Michael said, I had the opportunity to be able to go in several fields. And this is something that I truly believe in because I want to help people. And they're going to go, wow, this Michael is awesome. Michael, can you stay for dinner? You know, I mean, this comes up all the time. So it's that same thing. People want to feel comfortable. You know, I know John and I know Connie on the call, wonderful personalities. I mean, people who already like them and they trust them. So they're going to that gets them in the door. There are also people who care and they want to make sure that they help their clients. So they're going to go, this is fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm so happy that you came here. You know, at the beginning, it was like, I'm sorry, who are you? And now it's like, you know, please don't leave.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Yes. You're absolutely right.
That helps.
Well, thank you for spending some time with us today.
My pleasure, guys. You won't be able to get rid of me. And I know Marcus is going, oh, Tony, this was just a one-time thing. Don't get comfortable doing this.
We have some fun stuff planned for you guys. I think you guys are going to enjoy it.
I like it. I like it very much.
Iceberg. I think the big takeaway today, it's just one, not to reinvent the wheel, but two, to re-elaborate on your current sales process. There's always room for improvement. I had the same problem with Michael. I didn't want to edify myself too much. I felt I was talking about me, and it didn't sit very well. But Tony kind of got me to realize these same very points of those very things that I'm think is being overly boastful or putting myself on a higher pedestal also is going to help put the clients at ease and be able to begin to trust me a little bit better. But ultimately, the big thing is you guys,
Connie, you're welcome.
Put yourself into the client's shoes and buy as if you were the actual client. The things that you would like to see when you're purchasing something is the same types of items you should be using inside the field to help serve these people. So it's the same thought process, and which that's one of Tony's future lessons. We haven't got that far yet, putting yourself into the client's shoes, but putting yourself into that stance or that mindset is going to help the process go a hell of a lot smoother, and it makes it not a sales process. It makes it a little bit more emotional oriented, and it makes things more natural. I personally feel so. Any other further questions? I know Tony has to hop off here in a second. Anything else? Any comments, concerns you guys want to mention?
And my information, Marcus will make that available to you guys. It's going to be real simple. It's Tony Lani at hotmail.com. I'll just give you my simple address, TonyLani at hotmail.com. Or if you need to text me or anything like that, reach out to me. That'd be great. There it is. Look at that, Marcus, Mr. Speedy Gonzalez. So anything you guys need, I'm here for you.
Are we going to add them to the Facebook group, Tony, or how do you want to do that? Or you haven't thought about
I don't think to our Facebook group, but we'll figure that out.
Okay.
We'll put something together. Do you have a Facebook group or some sort of a group?
I do not.
Okay.
But
so
I can make one. If that's something we have to make, I can get it made.
Yeah, I was going to say that would be awesome. You know, and that way we can go ahead and do that. But I'm here for you guys, and you're going to see the difference just because it's just a matter of little things, tweaking this, tweaking that. People, they want to be able to work with you, and they want to work with professionals. So anyway, I'm here for you. Thank you, Marcus, for having me on. I really appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. You're very welcome, John. John, yeah, we got to work on John's personality. I mean, just no personality whatsoever. He's like a wallflower, right, John? So, it's a joke. Great personality. See, I know Connie, I know John, Michael. I got a chance to talk with you, which is great. I know Deanna. So great. Everyone's very personable. So thank you.
Once again, thank you, Tony, for hopping on. Hey, you guys,
my pleasure.
Let's have an awesome week. Like I said,
thank you.
We're second week into the final close of Q2, building up to Q3, and it's summer months. Things are going to get fun for us. So you guys
perfect. Thank
reach
you.
out. And so other than that, we'll talk soon. Take care, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.